Have you ever been spit in the face for protecting your grandson? My name is Emily and I am 59 years old. That afternoon, I only asked for something simple, something any grandmother would ask, that she not smoke inside my newborn grandson's room. Linda, my daughter Sarah's mother-in-law, looked at me with a contempt I will never forget and screamed, "You stink more than the cigarette, you filthy old hag." I felt something wet hit my cheek. I'm not going to describe what happened, but I will tell you this. In that moment, I understood that silence is sometimes the most powerful decision a woman can make. I wiped my face without saying a word. I walked down the stairs slowly with my hands trembling, and I waited. 5 minutes later, Linda's screams filled the whole house, but this time it was not at me. This is the story of how a grandmother protected her grandson and how life gave Linda exactly what she deserved. I am going to tell you everything from the beginning. Because this story does not start that day. It starts much earlier. When my daughter Sarah called me crying to tell me she was pregnant. Sarah is 32 years old. She is my only daughter. She worked for years as a nurse in a private hospital where she met Michael, a resident doctor. They got married 4 years ago. I was happy for her. Michael seemed like a good man, responsible and affectionate, but there was something that always worried me. His mother, Linda. From the day of the wedding, Linda made it clear that I was not enough for her son, that my daughter came from a humble family, that I was a widow, that I lived alone in a small apartment on the east side, that I did not have the social status she expected for her only son. Linda lived in the Heights. She had a huge house with a garden, a housekeeper, and a husband who practically lived at the country club. She used that power as a weapon, always reminding me of my place, always making me feel small. But I never said anything. For Sarah, for her marriage, for peace. When Sarah got pregnant, Linda took control of everything. She chose the obstetrician. She organized the baby shower. She decided the baby's name, Matthew. My daughter accepted everything, exhausted, swollen, vulnerable. And I stayed quiet until Matthew was born. My grandson arrived on a Tuesday afternoon, 7 pounds, dark eyes, perfect. Sarah had a complicated C-section. She lost a lot of blood. The first 3 days she was so weak she could barely hold the baby. I stayed with her at the hospital. I slept in an uncomfortable chair next to her bed. I gave her water. I adjusted her pillows. I changed Matthew's diapers while she rested. Linda appeared on the 3rd day. She arrived with expensive flowers, designer clothes for the baby, and that fake smile I already knew so well. "Oh, Emily, it is good that you are here helping. But go rest now, woman. I will take charge now." Sarah looked at me with those tired eyes, and I understood. I could not fight. Not in that moment. When they discharged Sarah, Michael decided it was better for her to recover at his parents' house in the Heights, where there was space, where Linda could help. "It will only be 2 weeks, Mom, until I feel better." 2 weeks. I accepted. What else could I do? The first few days, I visited Sarah every afternoon. I brought chicken soup. I brought her favorite cookies. I held Matthew while she showered or slept a little. Linda tolerated me. Barely. There was always a comment, always a look. "Oh, Emily, you do not need to bring food. We have everything here. Be careful how you hold the baby." Not like that. "Do you not have other things to do? Sarah is well taken care of here." But I endured it. For my daughter. For my grandson. Until that Friday. I arrived in the mid-afternoon. I rang the doorbell. The housekeeper opened it. I went up the stairs toward Sarah's room. The door was ajar. And then I smelled it. Cigarette smoke. Someone was smoking inside the baby's room. I pushed the door open. Linda was sitting in the armchair next to Matthew's crib. She had a lit cigarette in her right hand. The smoke rose slowly, thick, filling the room. Sarah was asleep on the bed, exhausted from the night before. Matthew was awake in the crib, moving his little hands. I felt the air leave my chest. "Linda, what are you doing?" She looked at me as if I were an annoying fly. "I am taking care of my grandson. Is there a problem you are smoking? Inside the room. It is my house, Emily. I smoke where I want. But the baby is fine." I raised Michael like this and look at him. He is a doctor. I took a deep breath. I tried to stay calm. "Linda, please, the smoke hurts him. He is a newborn. His lungs are still very fragile." She put out the cigarette in an ashtray she had next to her, slowly, without rushing, as if she were enjoying my discomfort. "Oh, Emily, you are always so dramatic. Nothing is going to happen. Relax. I am not being dramatic. It is Matthew's health." Then she stood up, walked toward me, and looked me straight in the eyes. "Listen to me well, Emily. This is my house. This is my son's grandson, and you do not rule anything here. Did you understand? I felt something break inside me, but I was not going to fight. I was not going to scream at her, not in front of my sleeping grandson. I only ask you not to smoke near him. That is all." Linda let out a dry laugh, cruel. And then she screamed, "You stink more than the cigarette, you filthy old hag." I felt something hit my cheek. I am not going to say what it was, but you can imagine. The room fell silent. Sarah was still asleep. Matthew was not crying. And me, I stayed there, standing, with a wet face and a broken heart. I cleaned myself slowly with the back of my hand. I said nothing. I just turned around. I left the room. I went down the stairs with my legs trembling. I got to the living room. I sat on the sofa. I took out my cell phone, and I waited. 5 minutes later, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Linda was coming down, surely to continue humiliating me. But when she reached the bottom of the stairs, she stopped dead in her tracks, because in front of her were 3 people she did not expect, 2 women and a man, uniformed, with badges hanging from their necks, Child Protective Services. One of them spoke first. "Good afternoon. We received a report about a minor being exposed to tobacco smoke. Are you Mrs. Linda?" Linda's face turned white. "What is this? We need to speak with you." "Was it you who smoked inside the newborn's room?" Linda looked at me, and in her eyes I saw something I had never seen before. Fear. Sometimes we trust too much in those we should not. "Have you also been disappointed by someone you loved? Tell me your story in the comments. I want to read it." Before I tell you what happened next in that living room, I need you to understand something important. I was not always this woman who stayed quiet. There was a time when I had a voice, when I decided, when my life was mine. I'm going to take you back a few years, because to understand why I did what I did that day, you have to know who I was before Linda appeared in our lives. 6 years ago, my husband Robert died. It was a heart attack, sudden, without warning. One morning, he got up as always, drank his coffee, gave me a kiss on the forehead and told me, "I will be back in the afternoon, my love." He never came back. I was left alone at 53. Robert and I had built a simple life but full of affection. He worked as an accountant in a small company. I gave sewing classes at home. We did not have much money, but we had peace. We had laughter. We had family Sundays. Our house on the east side was small. 2 bedrooms, a living room with old but clean furniture, a kitchen that always smelled of fresh coffee and sweet bread. Sarah grew up there, in that apartment where the walls kept our voices, our stories, our love. I remember Saturday mornings. Robert would get up early and put on oldies music while he made breakfast. I would stay in bed a while longer listening to him sing out of tune in the kitchen. Sarah would come running still in her pajamas and crawl between us in the bed. "What are we going to do today, Daddy?" "Whatever you want, Princess." And that is how we were. A normal, humble, happy family. When Robert died, I thought my life had ended too. The first few months were a silent hell. I would get up in the morning and not know what to do. I made coffee for two without realizing it. I set the table for two, and then I remembered. And the pain returned fresh, as if it had just happened. Sarah tried to console me. She came to visit me every weekend. She slept with me. She made me food. She forced me to go out for a walk. Mom, Dad would not want to see you like this. I knew it, but I could not help it. Little by little, I learned to live with that emptiness. I went back to teaching sewing classes. I joined a prayer group at church. I made friends, women like me, widows, alone, learning to reinvent themselves. And just when I was starting to feel good again, Sarah called me excited. Mom, I met someone. His name was Michael, a resident doctor. He worked at the same hospital as her. He was polite, hardworking, kind. Sarah talked about him with a light in her eyes that I had not seen for years. The first time I met him, I invited him to eat at home. I made meatloaf, mashed potatoes, green beans. I set the table with the embroidered tablecloth my mother had given me. I wanted everything to be perfect. Michael arrived on time. He brought flowers for me and a bottle of wine. Mrs. Emily, thank you very much for having me in your home. He was courteous, respectful. He asked me questions about my life, about Robert, about Sarah as a child. He listened with attention. He laughed at our stories. At the end of the afternoon when they left, I stayed cleaning the kitchen with a smile on my face. Sarah had found a good man. Oh, that is what I thought. 6 months later, Michael asked her to marry him. Sarah was on cloud 9. Me too. Mom, I want you to meet Michael's parents. And that was how I met Linda. The first time I went to her house in the Heights, I knew I did not fit in there. The house was huge, 3 floors, garden with a fountain, garage for 4 cars. Inside, everything was marble, glass, imported furniture. It smelled of expensive perfume and money. Linda received me at the door with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Oh, you must be Emily. Come in, come in. She made me sit in the living room. She offered me coffee in a porcelain cup so fine I was afraid of breaking it. So you are Sarah's mom. How nice. Michael has told us a lot about her. She spoke as if I were a protocol visit, as if she were fulfilling a social requirement. Her husband Richard barely greeted me. He was more interested in his newspaper than in meeting me. Linda started asking questions, but they were not kind questions. They were evaluations. And what do you do, Emily? I give sewing classes at home. Oh, how nice. And do you have your own business, or is it something informal? It is at home. I teach ladies from the neighborhood. How cute. And do you live alone? Yes. I am a widow. Oh, how sad. And do you have a pension? I felt that every question was an elegant way of telling me, you are not enough for my son. But I endured. For Sarah. The following months were a silent torture. Linda took control of the wedding. She chose the venue. She chose the menu. She chose the flowers. She chose everything. I only paid for Sarah's dress. It was the only thing I could do. On the wedding day, Linda introduced me to her friends as the bride's mother. Poor thing. She was widowed recently, as if my life were a misfortune that had to be tolerated. But I smiled, danced, hugged my daughter, because that day was not about me. It was about Sarah, and she was happy. Or so it seemed. The first few years of the marriage were quiet. Sarah and Michael rented an apartment downtown. They worked a lot, I barely saw them, but when we saw each other, Sarah was still my little girl, happy, affectionate, full of plans. I continued giving my sewing classes. I went out with my friends from church. I had my routine, my small life, but mine, until Sarah got pregnant. I remember the afternoon she told me. She came to my house crying. At first I got scared. I thought something bad had happened. What is wrong, my love? What happened? Mom, I am pregnant. I hugged her so tight I thought I was going to break her. Oh, my baby girl, what beautiful news. But she kept crying. I am scared, Mom. Scared of what? Of not being a good mother. Of not knowing how to take care of him. Of everything. I dried her tears. I gave her chamomile tea. I stroked her hair like when she was a child. You are going to be a wonderful mother. And I am going to be here, always. And I meant it. Sarah started visiting me more often. She came on Sundays. We ate together. She told me how the pregnancy was going. She showed me the ultrasound photos. I started knitting. I bought soft sky blue yarn. I knitted a little blanket, some booties, a hat. Every stitch was a prayer. Every loop of the yarn was a wish for protection for that baby I did not know yet. But then Linda appeared again. One Sunday, Sarah arrived with news. Mom, Linda wants to organize the baby shower. Ah, how nice. She says she knows a very nice place and is going to invite all her friends. I said nothing. I just nodded. Are you okay with that, Mom? Of course, my love. Whatever you want. Lie. I was not okay. But what could I do? The baby shower was at an event hall uptown. Everything white and gold, giant balloons, dessert table with French macarons, guests with designer dresses. I arrived in my simple department store dress, with my gift wrapped in brown paper because I liked the natural look, handmade. Linda saw me arrive and smiled. Oh, Emily, you look so nice. Come, sit over here with Michael's aunts. She sat me at a table in the back, far from Sarah, far from the main table. I spent the whole afternoon watching Linda walk around as the star hostess. How she hugged Sarah, how she whispered things in her ear, how she opened the gifts for her. When it was my gift's turn, Sarah opened it carefully. It was the knitted blanket, the booties, the hat. Oh, Mom, it is beautiful. Linda looked at it from afar and said out loud, How cute! Homemade, what an authentic detail. Her friends laughed. I looked down, and in that moment, something inside me started to change. It was not anger, not yet. It was a silent certainty. Linda wanted to erase me. She wanted me to be invisible. She wanted to keep my daughter and my grandson as if I had never existed, but I was still here. And although I did not know it at that moment, everything that was happening was preparing me for what would come later, for that Friday, for that room, for that cigarette, for that humiliation, and for the most important decision I would make in my life. While I tell all this, I think about where you are listening to me. Write the name of your city in the comments. The last 3 months of Sarah's pregnancy were the hardest. She was tired all the time. Her feet swelled. Her back hurt. She could not sleep well at night. And on top of all that, she had to keep working at the hospital until her maternity leave arrived. I went to her apartment twice a week. I brought her homemade food, vegetable soup, stewed chicken. I gave her foot massages while we watched shows together. Thanks, Mom. I do not know what I would do without you. You do not have to thank me for anything, my love. That is what I am here for. Michael was also busy. He had started his cardiology residency. He arrived late almost every night. Sometimes he did not even come home to sleep because he had shifts at the hospital. Sarah understood, but I saw in her eyes that she felt lonely. And then Linda started appearing more often. At first, it was a call. Sarah, honey, how do you feel? Do you need anything? Then it was surprise visits. I was passing by and said, let me see how my favorite daughter-in-law is doing. She brought bags of baby clothes, diapers, bottles, everything brand name, everything expensive. Oh, Linda, you did not have to spend so much. Spend my love. He is my grandson. For him, the best. And every time I arrived, Linda was already there, sitting on the living room sofa, drinking coffee, talking to Sarah as if they were lifelong friends. Oh, Emily, good thing you are here. I was just telling Sarah that when the baby is born, it is better if she stays a few days at my house. There is more space there, and I can help her. Sarah looked at me, waiting for my reaction. Well, whatever Sarah decides is fine. Of course. But think about it, Sarah. Your mom lives in a very small apartment, and with a newborn baby, you need space. You need real help. As if what I offered was not enough. but I said nothing. I never said anything. Weeks passed. Sarah entered her 8th month. The doctor said everything was going well, but the baby was big, that maybe they would have to schedule a C-section. Linda immediately took control. I know the best obstetrician in the city. Let me talk to him. He's a friend of the family. But I already have a doctor, Linda. Yes, my love, but this is the best one. He sees patients at City General. Everything very private. Very clean. Sarah looked at me. I just nodded. Do what makes you feel safest, my love. And just like that, Linda changed Sarah's doctor. She scheduled the C-section. She chose the hospital. She organized everything. I only received messages from Sarah notifying me of what Linda had decided. The baby would be born on March 15th, a Tuesday. I marked the date on my calendar with a red heart. My grandson. My first grandson. I started preparing everything. I washed the knitted blanket. I bought cloth diapers because I liked them better than disposables. I prepared a small kit with everything Sarah might need. Nipple cream, gauze, sanitary pads. Every night before sleeping, I prayed, God, please take care of my daughter. Take care of my grandson. Let everything go well. And March 15th arrived. That Tuesday, I got up at 5 in the morning. I could not sleep all night. I showered, I got ready. I prepared a thermos with coffee and some sandwiches because I knew it would be a long day. The C-section was scheduled for 9 in the morning. I arrived at the hospital at 7:30. Sarah was already in the pre-op room. Michael was with her. When she saw me arrive, Sarah started crying. Mom. I hugged her. I kissed her forehead. Everything is going to be fine, my love. You will see. I am scared. I know. But you are strong, and your baby too. Michael thanked me for being there. He looked nervous, pale. Mrs. Emily, thanks for coming. I will be here as long as necessary. And then Linda arrived. She entered like a hurricane, high heels, strong perfume, sunglasses even though we were inside the hospital. Oh, my love, how are you? Did they check you already? Is everything okay? She approached Sarah and practically pushed me aside. Your mother-in-law is here, my life. You are in good hands now. I stood to the side watching Linda take the place that should have been mine. At 10 to 9, they took Sarah to the operating room. Michael went in with her. Linda and I stayed waiting outside. In the waiting room, there were other families, grandmothers, aunts, brothers, everyone nervous, everyone excited. Linda sat in an armchair and took out her cell phone. She started sending messages, checking her social media, as if she were bored. I sat in silence, with my hands on my lap, praying in a low voice. 30 minutes passed, 40, an hour. Finally, at 10:15, Michael came out. His eyes were red, his mask hanging from his neck. What happened? Linda stood up immediately. There were complications. Sarah lost a lot of blood. They are stabilizing her. I felt the floor move beneath my feet. And the baby is fine. It is a boy, 7 pounds. But Sarah needs a transfusion. I froze. Linda screamed. Transfusion? What do you mean transfusion? I pay for the best hospital and this is what happens. Michael was shaking. They are already doing everything possible. The doctor says she is going to be fine, but she needs to rest. I want to talk to the doctor, now. Linda ran out into the hallway. Michael followed her, trying to calm her down. I was left alone. I sat down slowly. My legs would not respond. My baby girl, my Sarah. I closed my eyes and prayed like I had never prayed before in my life. God, please do not take her from me. Please. 2 more hours passed. Finally, they let me in to see her. Sarah was in the recovery room, connected to IVs, pale, with dry lips. But she was alive. I approached slowly. I took her hand. Mom. Her voice was barely a whisper. I am here, my love. I am here. Matthew is perfect. He is beautiful. She smiled weakly. I want to see him. Soon, my love. First, you have to rest. She closed her eyes. She squeezed my hand, and I stayed there sitting in an uncomfortable chair next to her bed, not letting go. Linda entered half an hour later. She was carrying the baby in her arms. "Look, Sarah, here is your prince." She put the baby on her chest. Sarah looked at him with tears in her eyes. "He is perfect." "Of course he is perfect. He is my grandson." I stayed quiet, watching how Linda monopolized that moment as well. That night, Michael told me that Sarah would have to stay 3 days in the hospital, that afterwards he would take her to rest at his parents' house. "It is only temporary, Mrs. Emily, until she recovers well." "I understand. You can visit her whenever you want." "Thank you, Michael." But in his eyes, I saw something that hurt me. Pity. As if I were a necessary nuisance that had to be tolerated. That night, I returned to my empty apartment. I took off my shoes, I sat on the sofa, and I cried. I cried for my daughter, for the scare we had, for the helplessness of not being able to protect her, and I cried because I knew Linda had won another battle, but I did not know that battle was just the beginning. The 3 days at the hospital were exhausting. I arrived early in the morning and stayed until night. I gave Sarah water. I adjusted her pillows. I changed Matthew's diapers while she rested. Linda arrived in the afternoons, always impeccable, always with gifts, always with comments. "Oh, Emily, you do not need to come so early. Sarah needs to rest. I am just taking care of her." "I know, but sometimes so much movement tires her." Movement, as if my presence were a problem. On Friday, Sarah was discharged. Michael arrived with his SUV. Linda had everything organized, the car seat, the suitcases, the flowers, everything ready. "Let's go to the house." Sarah looked at me from the wheelchair. "Are you coming with us, Mom?" "No, my love. I am going to stop by my house first, but I will visit you tomorrow." "Are you sure?" "Sure." "Rest, and call me if you need anything." I hugged her slowly. I kissed Matthew's forehead, and I watched them go, get into the SUV, drive away through the parking lot, and I stayed there standing alone, watching my family go to a house that was not mine. That night, I could not sleep. Something was breaking, and I did not know how to stop it, but soon I would know, because 3 days later, everything would change forever. On Saturday, I arrived at Linda's house at 3 in the afternoon. I rang the doorbell. The housekeeper opened it. A young woman, about 30, with a gray uniform and white apron. "Good afternoon. I am here to see Sarah. Come in, ma'am." "They are upstairs." I went up the stairs slowly. My legs still hurt from having spent 3 days almost without sleeping at the hospital. The room they had given Sarah was huge, much bigger than my entire apartment. It had a king-size bed, a private bathroom, a walk-in closet, and even a small balcony overlooking the garden. Sarah was sitting on the bed with a pillow supporting her back. Matthew slept in a wooden crib next to her, an expensive crib, obviously new. "Mom, good thing you came." I approached and hugged her carefully. She still looked weak, pale. "How do you feel? Sore, but better than yesterday? Have you been able to sleep a little?" Matthew wakes up every 3 hours to eat. It is normal. The first days are like this. I sat in a chair next to the crib. Matthew had his little eyes closed, his little hands clenched in small fists. He was perfect. And Michael, he had to go to the hospital. He has a shift all weekend. And Linda, she went out with some friends. She said she would return at night. We stayed in silence for a moment. I looked at Matthew. Sarah looked out the window. "Mom, do you think I am doing the right thing?" "What do you mean, being here?" "At Linda's house. Sometimes I feel that I do not know, that I should be in my house, in my space." "Well, why do you not talk to Michael? Tell him you want to go back to your apartment. It is just that he says it is better here, that I need help, that in the apartment we would be alone, and if something happens at night, I can go stay with you, as long as you need." "I know, Mom. But Michael says you also have your life, your classes, your things." I felt a lump in my throat. Michael. Always Michael. Always what Michael said. My love, my life is you, and now Matthew. If you need me, I leave everything. I know, Mom, and I thank you, but I do not want to be a burden. You would never be a burden. Sarah sighed. She looked tired, confused. I am going to stay here 2 weeks. That was what we agreed. Just until I feel stronger. It is okay. Whatever you decide. But it was not okay, and we both knew it. That afternoon, I stayed with her until 8 at night. I made her a tea. I gave her foot massages. I held Matthew while she showered. When Linda returned, I was already saying goodbye. "Oh, Emily, are you leaving already? What a pity, I thought you would stay for dinner." "No thanks, I am going to my house. Well, take care, and do not worry about Sarah. I have her well watched here." Watched. That word echoed in my head the whole way back. On Sunday, I could not go visit her. I had sewing classes scheduled for weeks, 3 ladies who paid me in advance. I could not cancel on them, but I sent messages to Sarah all day. "How did you wake up? Did you sleep well? Do you need anything?" She responded with short messages. "Good, Mom. Yes, I slept a little. No thanks. I have everything here." On Monday morning, Michael called me. "Mrs. Emily, good morning. I just wanted to let you know that Sarah is fine. The doctor came to check her and says the C-section is healing perfectly. That is good, Michael. Thanks for letting me know. I also wanted to tell you that, well, my mom is very attentive to Sarah, so if you want to come visit her, it is fine. But we also do not want Sarah to get very tired with so many visits. So many visits. As if I were a visitor. I understand. I will go only when Sarah tells me she wants me to go. Perfect. Thank you very much for understanding." I hung up the phone and stayed sitting in my kitchen, looking at the wall. That week, I could only go see her twice, Tuesday and Thursday. Every time I arrived, Linda was already there, sitting in an armchair next to the crib, holding Matthew, giving advice to Sarah. "No, my love, that is not how you hold the baby. Look, like this is better. The bottle has to be warm, not hot. When he cries, do not pick him up immediately. He has to learn to calm himself down." I stayed quiet listening. Sarah nodded to everything, as if Linda were the only one who knew, as if I had never raised a baby. On Friday, 10 days after the birth, Sarah called me. "Mom, can you come this afternoon?" "Sure, my love. Did something happen?" "No, just, I miss you." I arrived at 4. This time, Linda was not there. She had gone out to a charity event with her friends. Sarah looked better, less pale, more rested. "How do you feel better?" "I can walk without so much pain now." "That's good. Mom, I need to tell you something." She stayed quiet, looking at her hands. "Michael and I decided to stay here a little longer, here, at Linda's house. Yes, it is not going to be 2 weeks anymore. It is going to be, I do not know, a month, maybe 2. I felt something break inside me. Why? Because Michael thinks it is better. He says here we have everything, that it is easier for me, that Linda helps me a lot. But Sarah, this is not your house. I know, Mom, but it is temporary. That is what you said 10 days ago. I know. But it is just that. Mom, I feel very tired. I do not know if I could take care of Matthew alone in the apartment. But you would not be alone. I could stay with you. I know. But you have your classes, your things. I already told you I can leave everything. I do not want you to do that. You already did a lot for me. Now let me do this my way. Her voice sounded tired, resigned. I said nothing more because I knew it was not her decision. It was Michael's decision, and Linda's. That afternoon, when I went down the stairs to leave, I met Linda at the door. She had just arrived from her event. She was wearing an elegant dress and high heels. "Oh, Emily, are you leaving?" "Yes." "Did you talk to Sarah?" "Yes." "How good that she is going to stay longer. The truth is she is better taken care of here. I make sure she has everything she needs." "I see. And do not worry. You can come whenever you want. This house is also your house." Lie. That house would never be my house. Thank you, Linda. I went out to the street. The sun was still high. It was March. It was hot. I walked to the corner and waited for the bus. And while I waited, I thought about everything that had happened in those 10 days. I thought about how Linda had taken control of everything. I thought about how Sarah was letting herself be led. I thought about how Michael allowed his mother to decide for them. And I thought about myself, about how I had stayed quiet, about how I had accepted everything, about how I had let them push me aside, because I was afraid of bothering, afraid of being a nuisance, afraid that Sarah would get mad at me if I said something. But that fear was costing me dearly. It was costing me my daughter, my grandson, my place in that family, and the worst of all was that I was allowing it. I arrived at my apartment at 7 at night. I made coffee. I sat at the kitchen table. And for the first time in a long time, I asked myself, until when am I going to keep accepting this? But I had no answer. Not yet. 2 more weeks passed. Sarah completed a month since giving birth. Matthew was growing well. He weighed almost 9 pounds. He slept a little more at night. I continued visiting her 2 or 3 times a week, always in the afternoons, always when Linda was not there, or when she was there, but ignored me. One day I arrived and found Sarah crying in her room. What happened, my love? Nothing, Mom. It is just that. I am tired. Of what? Of everything. Of being here. Of Linda telling me what to do all the time. Of Michael arriving so late. Of feeling trapped. Then let's go. Today. Pack your things and let's go to your apartment. I cannot. Why not? Because Michael is going to get mad. And what does it matter? It does matter, Mom. He is my husband. But you are my daughter. And if you are not happy here, you have to leave. It is not that easy. Yes, it is that easy. But it was not. Because Sarah was afraid. Afraid of disappointing Michael. Afraid of confronting Linda. Afraid of making her own decisions. And I could not force her. I could only be there, waiting, praying that one day she would find the courage to leave. But that day did not arrive. And meanwhile, Linda kept gaining ground until that Friday arrived. The Friday that changed everything. The day of the cigarette. The day when I finally stopped staying quiet. It was Friday, April 2nd. Matthew was 18 days old. That morning, I got up early as always. I made my coffee. I sat in the kitchen to check the orders from my sewing clients. I had to deliver 3 embroidered blouses by Monday, but I could not concentrate. All week I had felt something strange, a restlessness that did not let me sleep well. Like when you know something bad is going to happen, but you do not know what. Sarah had been at Linda's house for almost 3 weeks. Every time I talked to her on the phone, her voice sounded more dull. More tired, more resigned. On Wednesday, she had called me crying. Mom, I do not know what is wrong with me. I cry about everything. I feel sad all the time. It is normal, my love. It is the hormones. After childbirth, the body takes time to regulate itself. But it is not just that. It is that I feel lonely. Michael arrives extremely late. Sometimes he does not even come to sleep. And Linda, she went quiet. What about Linda nothing? Forget it. Sarah, tell me. It is just that all the time she is telling me what to do, how to hold Matthew, how to breastfeed him, how to dress him, everything. And if I do something different, she tells me I am doing it wrong. And what does Michael say? Michael says his mom just wants to help, that I should not get sensitive. I felt my blood boil. He called you sensitive, yes. He says I am exaggerating, that Linda has experience, that I should listen to her more. I stayed quiet, clutching the phone. Mom, do you think I am exaggerating? No, my love. You are not exaggerating. You are Matthew's mom. You know what is best for him. Then why do I feel so confused? Because they are making you doubt yourself. And that is not right. Sarah sighed. Sometimes I think I should have stayed in my apartment from the beginning. It is never too late. You can still leave. I know. But give me a little more time. That was Wednesday. On Thursday, I could not talk to her. I sent her several messages, but she did not answer until night. Sorry, Mom. It was a heavy day. Matthew was crying a lot. I am better now. I will talk to you tomorrow. And Friday arrived. I had planned to go visit her in the afternoon, but at 11 in the morning I received a message from Sarah. Mom, can you come right now, please? My heart raced. Did something happen? No, just come. I left everything. I did not even finish getting ready properly. I put on some pants, a simple blouse, my comfortable shoes. I grabbed my purse and ran out. The road to the Heights was eternal. The traffic was horrible. It took me almost an hour. When I arrived at Linda's house, it was almost 12:30. I rang the doorbell. The housekeeper opened it. Good afternoon, Mrs. Emily. Come in. Thanks. Is Sarah upstairs? Yes, in her room. I went up the stairs fast. My heart was beating strong. I opened the room door. Sarah was sitting on the bed. Matthew was sleeping in the crib. Mom. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. What happened? I need you to help me with something. Anything. She got up slowly, went to the closet, took out a plastic bag. I need you to keep this in your house. What is it? My documents, my birth certificate, my nursing degree, my vaccination card, the deeds to the apartment I bought with Michael before we got married. I felt a chill. Why do you want me to take this? Because I do not feel safe having it here. You do not feel safe. What are you talking about? Sarah sat on the bed, covered her face with her hands. Yesterday I heard Linda talking on the phone with someone. I do not know who it was, but she was saying that it was better if I stayed here. That in my apartment I did not have the adequate conditions to raise a baby. That she was going to talk to Michael to convince him to sell the apartment and for us to stay and live here. What yes, Mom? She said that here there was space for everyone. That we could stay on the second floor. That way she could help me with Matthew all the time. But that is crazy. I know. But Linda is like that. When she gets something in her head, she does not stop until she gets it. And Michael knows nothing. Or at least that is what I think. But I am afraid Linda will convince him. Michael does whatever his mom tells him. Sarah, listen to me well. You are not going to stay and live here. This is not your house. Your house is your apartment. And if Michael does not understand that, then you have a very big problem. I know, Mom. That is why I am giving you my documents. Just in case. Just in case. What just in case Linda tries to do something? I do not know. Convince Michael that I am not well, that I need to stay here, that she knows better than me what is good for Matthew. I felt the floor moving beneath my feet. That is not going to happen. You do not know that Mom, Linda, is very smart. And I feel so tired, so confused. Sometimes I think maybe she is right, that maybe I do not know what I am doing. Do not say that. You are an excellent mother. Then why does Matthew cry so much when I hold him? Why, when Linda holds him, does he calm down immediately? Because babies feel their mother's stress, and you are stressed because Linda does not let you breathe. Sarah stayed quiet, looking at Matthew. Sleep. What am I going to do, Mom? You are going to leave here this very week. I cannot. Yes, you can. And if Michael gets mad, let him get mad. You are his wife, not his prisoner. It is just that it is not that easy. Yes, it is that easy. You only need courage. Sarah started crying again. I do not know if I have it. I hugged her. Let her cry on my shoulder. Are you going to find it? I know so. We stayed like that for a while in silence, just listening to Matthew's soft breathing. Then I heard footsteps on the stairs. Someone was coming up. Are you expecting someone? No. Linda went out with her friends. She should not be back until tonight, but the footsteps kept getting closer. The door opened. It was Linda. She was wearing sunglasses, a white dress, heels. She looked annoyed. "Oh, Emily, I did not know you were here. Sarah called me." Ah, how strange, because I told Sarah this morning that today it was better for her to rest, not to receive visitors. She looked at Sarah with those cold eyes. "Right, my love." Sarah looked down. "Yes, but it is just that I wanted to see my mom." "I see." Linda entered the room, closed the door behind her, took off her glasses. "Well, since you are here, Emily, I will take the opportunity to tell you something. What things Sarah and I have been talking, and we decided that it is best if she stays here a while longer, maybe until Matthew is 3 months old." 3 months? Yes. That way Sarah recovers well, and I help her with the baby because raising a newborn is not easy. It requires experience. And well, you already know how this is. The way she said, "You already know," was like a stab, as if saying, "You who raised your daughter alone in a small apartment without help, without money." Linda, I think that is something Sarah has to decide with Michael, not with you. Of course Michael agrees. In fact, it was his idea. I looked at Sarah. She did not look at me. She had her eyes fixed on the floor. "Is that true, Sarah?" She did not answer. "Sarah, I am asking you." "Mom, Yes," Michael said, "maybe it was better to stay here a little longer. A little longer, or 3 months. Silence, Sarah, 3 months. I felt like I was lacking air." "I understand." Linda smiled, that fake smile I already knew so well. "See, Emily, everything is decided, and you can come visit whenever you want, but maybe not every day because Sarah needs to rest, and you also have your life, your classes, your things." I grabbed my purse, put away the bag with the documents Sarah had given me. "It is fine if that is what you decided. Exactly. It is best for everyone." I looked at Sarah one last time. "If you need me, call me. At any hour." She nodded without looking at me. I left the room, went down the stairs slowly, and just when I reached the front door, I heard Linda shout from upstairs, "Oh, Emily, I forgot to tell you. Next Friday is Matthew's baptism. It is going to be here at the house. A small gathering, intimate, only close family and Michael's friends. I will send you the invitation by WhatsApp. Close family, Michael's friends, but not my family, not my friends, not my people." I left that house with a broken heart, but also with something new, something that had been growing inside me for weeks, anger and a certainty. This could not go on like this. I arrived home at 3 in the afternoon. I took out the bag Sarah had given me. I put her documents in a metal box I have in my closet, a box where I keep important things. Robert's death certificate, my marriage license, old photographs, and now my daughter's documents just in case. That night, I could not sleep. I stayed awake thinking about everything, about how Linda was taking control of Sarah's life, about how Michael allowed his mother to decide for them, about how my daughter was losing herself little by little, and about how I again had stayed quiet. But something had changed, because this time the silence hurt differently. This time the silence burned me, and I knew that soon, very soon, that silence was going to break. I just did not know how. Not yet. A week passed, from Friday, April 2nd to Friday, April 9th. 7 days that felt like 7 years. I did not see Sarah again that whole week. She did not call me. I did not call her either. I needed to think. I needed to understand what was really happening. Linda had sent me the baptism invitation via WhatsApp on Saturday morning. "Emily, we are confirming you for Matthew's baptism on Friday, April 9th at 5 p.m. Private ceremony at St. Mary's Chapel. Reception afterwards at our house. Dress code. Formal elegant. Regards." Dress code. Formal elegant. In my house, we never had dress codes. At Sarah's baptism 32 years ago, people arrived with what they had. Some in suits, others in clean ironed clothes. No one judged anyone. But in Linda's world, everything was different. I spent those days sewing. I finished the 3 blouses I had to deliver. I embroidered a tablecloth for a client. I fixed 2 dresses. Working helped me not to think so much. But at night, when I was alone in my apartment, the questions returned. Why did Sarah not defend me? Why did she accept what Linda said? Why did Michael allow his mother to control his marriage? And the question that hurt me the most, why did I keep accepting this? On Tuesday night, Sarah finally called me. Mom, tell me, my love. I just wanted to know if you already confirmed for the baptism. Yes, I told Linda I was going. That is good. Silence. How is Matthew good? He already weighs 10 pounds. He is growing fast. That is good. More silence. Mom, are you mad at me? I am not mad, Sarah. I feel like you are. I am sad. That is all. Why? Because I feel like I am losing you. You are not losing me, Mom. Yes, I am losing you, and you do not even realize it. Mom, please, do not start. I am not starting anything. I am just telling you what I feel. Well, sometimes what you feel is not the most important thing. I have to think about Matthew, about my marriage, about my family, and what am I? Silence. You are my mom, but I also have other responsibilities. I know, but that does not mean you have to leave me out of your life. I am not leaving you out. Then why do I feel like you are? Sarah sighed. She sounded tired. I do not want to fight with you, Mom. I do not want to fight either. Then can we leave it like this? Just come to the baptism, see Matthew, and then we talk. It is fine. Thanks, Mom. I love you. I love you too. She hung up. I stayed sitting in my kitchen with the phone in my hand, feeling that something was breaking between us, something that perhaps could no longer be repaired. Friday arrived too quickly. I got up early. I showered. I put on the only formal dress I had, a navy blue dress I had bought 3 years ago for a wedding. I put on a little makeup. I did my hair. I put on the pearl earrings Robert had given me on our 20th anniversary. I looked in the mirror, a 59-year-old woman, with gray hairs starting to appear at the temples, with wrinkles around the eyes, with hands tired from working so much, but dignified. I arrived at the chapel at 4:30. I wanted to be early. St. Mary's Chapel was beautiful, small, ancient, with stained glass windows and dark wooden pews. There were already some people seated, Michael's family, Linda's friends, all dressed elegantly, all speaking in hushed voices. I sat all the way in the back, in the last pew, alone. At 5 o'clock sharp, Sarah arrived. She was carrying Matthew. He was wearing a long white gown. Beautiful, surely very expensive. Sarah looked pale, thin, thinner than the last time I had seen her. Michael walked by her side. Linda walked behind, greeting everyone as if it were her event. The ceremony was short. The priest sprinkled holy water on Matthew's forehead. He said the prayers. The godparents held a candle. I stayed sitting in the back, watching everything from afar, like a spectator, like someone who did not belong. When the ceremony ended, everyone went out to the chapel patio to take photographs. I stayed seated. Sarah approached after a few minutes. Mom, come. We are going to take the family photo. Are you sure? Of course. You are Matthew's grandmother. We walked to where the photographer was. Linda was already there organizing everyone. Let's see. First the parents with the baby. Michael, stand here. Sarah, like that. Perfect. Click. Now with the grandparents. With Richard, come. Stand here next to Michael. Richard stood next to Michael. Linda stood next to Sarah. Click. Perfect. Now with the godparents. I waited. No one called me. Excuse me, I told the photographer. Did you already take the photo with all the grandparents? The photographer looked at me confused. Linda answered before him. Oh, Emily, of course. You too come. Stand back here, in the back. Not next to Sarah, not holding Matthew, in the back. I stood where Linda indicated, behind everyone, almost out of the frame. Click. Ready. Now let's go to the house for the reception. Everyone started walking toward the cars. I stayed standing there in the chapel patio watching my family walk away. Sarah turned around. "Are you coming, Mom?" "Yes, I am coming." We arrived at Linda's house at 6 in the evening. They had decorated the garden with white and gold balloons, tables with long tablecloths, centerpieces with white flowers, a huge dessert table, waiters with trays of canapes. Everything perfect, everything elegant, everything very Linda. I sat at a table in the back with people I did not know, friends of Linda who looked at me with curiosity. "And who are you?" "I am Matthew's grandmother, Sarah's mother." "Oh, how nice. And where do you live on the east side?" Oh, that "oh" said everything. I spent the next 2 hours watching Linda parade Matthew among her guests, how everyone congratulated Sarah and Michael, how Richard toasted with his friends from the country club, and how I remained invisible. At 8 at night, I decided to leave. I looked for Sarah. She was sitting at a table with some college friends. "My love, I am leaving." "So early?" "Yes, I am tired. It is fine. Thanks for coming." She gave me a kiss on the cheek, fast, as if she were in a hurry. "I love you." "Me too." I walked toward the exit. No one stopped me. No one said goodbye. I went out to the street. The fresh air hit my face, and then I felt it, that moment of absolute clarity. Linda was never going to respect me. Michael was never going to defend me. And Sarah was so lost in that world that she no longer knew who she was. I arrived at my house at 9:30 at night. I took off the dress. I took off the earrings. I took off the makeup. I put on my old pajamas, the one with blue flowers, the one Robert said made me look tender. I sat on my bed and I cried. I cried for everything I had lost, for everything I was losing. I cried for my daughter, for my grandson, for me. And just when I thought it could not hurt more, my phone rang. It was a message from Sarah. "Mom, thanks for coming today. I love you very much. See you soon. Soon." That word meant nothing anymore, because soon in Sarah's world now meant when Linda allowed it. I lay in my bed. I looked at the ceiling, and I made a decision. I was not going back to that house, not until Sarah asked me for real help, not until she was ready to leave, because I could no longer keep watching them erase me. I could no longer keep accepting crumbs. I had to recover my dignity, even if that meant staying away, even if it hurt. 3 days passed. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sarah did not call me. I did not call her either. On Thursday morning, I received a message from her. "Mom, can you come tomorrow afternoon? I need to talk to you." My heart raced. Of course. At what time? Around 3. Linda is going out. I will be there. On Friday, April 13th, I arrived at Linda's house at 3 o'clock sharp. The housekeeper opened the door. "Come in, Mrs. Emily. Sarah is waiting for you upstairs." I went up the stairs, entered the room. Sarah was sitting on the bed. Matthew was sleeping in the crib, and in her eyes I saw something I had not seen in weeks. Determination. "Mom, I need your help. Tell me. I want to leave here. Today." I felt my heart jump out of my chest. Today? Yes, before Linda returns, before Michael arrives. I need to leave now. What happened yesterday, I heard Linda talking to Michael on the phone. She was telling him that I was not well, that I looked depressed, that maybe I needed professional help, that it was better for me to stay here where she could watch me. Watch you. Yes. She said I was not in a condition to take care of Matthew alone, that it was better if she stayed as the primary guardian while I recovered. That is crazy, I know. And the worst thing is that Michael was agreeing with her. He told her he was going to talk to me, that he was going to convince me to stay here permanently. Permanently, yes. They want us to sell the apartment, for us to stay and live here on the second floor, like guests in our own life. I took a deep breath. "Then we are leaving right now. Will you help me?" "Of course I will help you." And there in that moment, everything changed, because my daughter had finally woken up, and I was ready to get her out of there. I still wonder if I did the right thing. And you, what would you have done in my place? It was 3:10 in the afternoon on Friday, April 13th. Sarah and I had exactly 2 hours before Linda returned from her bridge meeting with her friends. 2 hours to pack, 2 hours to get out of that house, 2 hours to change everything. "Where is the housekeeper?" I asked Sarah. Linda gave her the day off. She said she did not need anyone to be here today. Perfect. That gave us more privacy. Well, let's start. What do you need to take? Sarah looked around the room. There were so many clothes, so many things. Gifts from Linda, baby clothes she had bought, furniture she had chosen. I do not know. All this belongs to Linda, not everything. What did you bring when you arrived? 2 suitcases with my clothes. Matthew's clothes that I had bought, his blankets, his diapers. Well, that is what you are taking. The rest stays here. I took the 2 suitcases out of the closet. We started packing fast. Sarah's clothes. Matthew's clothes, bottles, diapers, wipes, the knitted blanket I had made him, the booties, the hat, and the baptism gown, Sarah asked, looking at that long white dress hanging in the closet. Leave it. That was a gift from Linda, but it belongs to Matthew. Sarah, if you take something Linda bought, she is going to use that as an excuse. She is going to say you stole her things, that you have no right. Just take what is yours. She nodded. We kept packing. Documents, medicine, the phone charger, the stuffed animals Sarah's friends had given her at the baby shower. At 3:30, we had everything ready. 2 suitcases, a diaper bag, the stroller Sarah had bought with her own money before Linda appeared with a more expensive one. Ready? I asked. Sarah looked at Matthew sleeping in the crib. She picked him up carefully, wrapped him in his blanket. Ready. We went down the stairs slowly. I carried the 2 suitcases. Sarah carried Matthew. We left the stroller for later. We got to the living room, and then we heard the door. Someone was entering. Sarah looked at me terrified. It cannot be Linda. It is still very early, but it was her. Linda entered the living room with her sunglasses, her beige dress, her heels. She saw us standing there with the suitcases, with the baby, and she understood everything. What is going on here? Sarah did not answer. She was paralyzed. I took a step forward. Sarah is leaving. She is going back to her house. Linda took off her glasses. Her eyes were hard, cold. What do you mean she is leaving? You heard me. She has been here long enough. It is time for her to return to her apartment. That is not your decision, Emily. You are right. It is Sarah's decision, and she already decided. Linda walked toward us. Slowly. Sarah, is that true? Sarah swallowed hard. She squeezed Matthew against her chest. Yes, it is true. Thanks for everything, Linda. But it is time for me to go. Time for you to go. Are you crazy? You have barely been a mother for a month. You are still weak. You still need help. I am better now. I can take care of Matthew alone. No, you cannot. I have seen it. You get tired. You cry all the time. You do not even know how to hold him right. That is not true. Of course it is true. I have been here. I have seen you. And believe me, my love, you are not ready to leave. Sarah looked down, and I felt we were losing her again. Linda, with all due respect, that is not for you to decide. Sarah is an adult woman, a mother. She can make her own decisions. Linda looked at me as if I were trash. Oh, sure. Now it turns out you are going to come give advice. You who raised your daughter in a miserable apartment. You who could never give her what she needed. You who left her alone all the time because you had to work. I worked to feed her, to pay for her studies, so she would have a future. A future, please. If it were not for my son, Sarah would still be a simple nurse in a public hospital. There is nothing simple about being a nurse. Whatever. The point is that now Sarah has a better life, a better house, a husband who supports her, and I am here to help her. Something you could never do. I felt my blood boil. I have always been there for my daughter. Always. Yes, sure. That is why Sarah spent her whole childhood alone while you sewed for other ladies. That is why she ate beans every day while you barely scraped by for the month. That is why she could never go to a private school like the children of decent families. Linda, stop. Sarah tried to intervene, but Linda did not stop. No, Sarah. It is important that your mother understands something. Here in this house, Matthew has everything. He has space, he has care, he has a future. If you go with her, what are you going to give him? A small apartment, a grandmother who smells of cheap lavender, and that was when she said it. The thing that changed everything. Besides, Michael and I already talked. He agrees. You are going to stay here, permanently. I already spoke to a lawyer. We are going to do shared guardianship. I am going to be Matthew's legal guardian while you recover from your postpartum depression. Sarah lifted her face suddenly. What are you talking about that you need professional help, my love? And meanwhile, someone has to take care of Matthew. Someone stable. Someone who knows what she is doing. I know what I am doing. I am his mother. Yes, but you are not well. I have seen it. You cry, you get depressed, you do not eat. Michael has noticed it too. Does Michael know about this? Of course he knows. Do you think I would do something without consulting my son? Sarah started to tremble. No, it cannot be. It is for your own good, Sarah. It is for Matthew's good. And then for the first time in weeks, I saw my daughter really wake up. No, I am not going to allow this. Excuse me, I am not going to allow you to take my son from me. Matthew is mine. I am his mother, and I am not depressed. I am tired. I am stressed. Because you do not let me breathe. Because all the time you are telling me what to do, how to do it. Because you treat me as if I were an incapable child. Sarah, do not be dramatic. I am not dramatic. I am fed up. Fed up with you controlling me. Fed up with you making decisions for me. Fed up with living in your house as if I were a prisoner. Linda took a step toward her. Lower your voice. You are going to scare the baby. I do not care. I want you to listen to me. I am leaving here right now, and you are not going to stop me. Oh, yes. And where are you going to go? To your mommy's apartment? To that place where barely two people fit? I am going to my apartment. The one I bought with my money. The one that is in my name. That apartment that Michael and you bought with the down payment we gave you. It was a loan. And we already paid it. Oh, yes. Well, I do not have the signed receipt. Silence. Sarah looked at me. I froze. What do you mean? That money was a gift, not a loan. And since Michael is my son, technically, he has a right to that apartment. And if he decides to sell it, he cannot sell it without my signature. Of course he can. You are married under community property. Everything that is his is yours. And everything that is yours is his. And Michael does what I tell him. Sarah started to cry. You are a witch. I am not a witch. I am a mother protecting her son and her grandson. Something you should understand. I could not take it anymore. I took a step forward. Linda, listen to me well. My daughter is leaving here right now, and you are not going to stop her. Not with threats, not with lawyers, not with anything. Linda looked at me with absolute contempt. Oh, yes. And who is going to stop me? You, an old seamstress who lives on handouts. Yes, me, please. You are nobody. You have no money. You have no power. You have nothing. And if you try to take Sarah from here, I am going to sue you for kidnapping, for manipulation, for putting crazy ideas in my daughter-in-law's head. They are not crazy ideas. It is the truth. The truth is that you have always been jealous of me, because I can give Matthew everything you could never give Sarah, and that hurts you. It hurts you to know that I am a better grandmother than you. And that was when something broke inside me. You know what, Linda? You are right. I never had money. I never had a big house. I never had housekeepers. But I had something you are never going to have. "Oh, yes. And what is that, my daughter's love?" Linda stayed quiet. "Sarah loves me because I was always there. Not with money, not with expensive gifts, but with presence, with hugs, with time, with sacrifice. I stayed up when she was sick. I cried when she cried. I picked her up every time she fell, and never did I ask for anything in return, because that is being a mother, and you do not understand that because for you everything is control, everything is power, everything is showing that you are better than others. Shut up. I am not going to shut up, because someone has to tell you the truth. You do not love Matthew. You want him as a possession, as a trophy, as something that makes you feel important. But real love is not that. Real love is letting go. It is respecting. It is trusting. Linda took a step toward me. Her eyes were full of rage. "Get out of my house. I am going, and I am taking my daughter with me." "You are not taking her." "Yes, I am taking her." I said no. And then it happened. Linda raised her hand, and she struck me in the face. The sound was dry, loud. I felt the burning on my cheek, the taste of blood in my mouth. Sarah screamed, "Linda!" I stayed still, staring at her. "Is that all you have?" Blow's Linda was shaking. "Get out! Now I am leaving." But listen to me well. This is not going to stay like this. Are you threatening me? I am not threatening you. I am warning you. I grabbed the suitcases. Sarah was carrying Matthew, who was now crying, scared. We walked toward the door. Linda followed us, screaming, "If you walk out that door, Sarah, do not ever come back. Ever. And I am going to tell Michael you left with your mother, that you abandoned your marriage, that you are a bad mother." Sarah stopped for a second. I touched her shoulder. "Do not turn around. Keep walking." And we went out. We closed the door behind us. And in that moment, something changed forever, because we had won a battle. But the war was just beginning. We left Linda's house at 4:15 in the afternoon on Friday, April 13th. The sun was still high. It was hot. Sarah carried Matthew in her arms. I carried the 2 suitcases. We walked fast down the street to the corner. "Mom, what are we going to do?" "We are going to take a taxi. We are going to go to your apartment. And if Michael arrives, you talk to him. You tell him the truth. You tell him what happened. He is not going to believe me. Then he is not the man you thought he was." We waited on the corner. My face still burned where Linda had hit me. I felt my lips swollen. Sarah looked at me with eyes full of tears. "Mom, forgive me. Forgive you for what? For not defending you sooner. For letting Linda treat you like that. For everything. You do not have to ask for my forgiveness. The important thing is that you are here now, that you made the right decision. I am so afraid. Me too. But we are going to be fine." A taxi passed. I hailed it. "To my daughter's apartment, please, on the west side." The taxi driver helped us load the suitcases. Sarah sat in the back with me. Matthew had already calmed down. He slept in her arms. The ride lasted 40 minutes. Neither of us spoke. I looked out the window, watching the city pass, thinking about everything that had just happened. Linda had hit me. She had hit me in front of my daughter, in front of my grandson, and I had not responded. I had not screamed at her. I had not hit her back. Because in that moment, I understood something. Violence is not won with more violence. It is won with dignity. We arrived at Sarah's apartment at 5 in the afternoon. It was a small apartment in an old 3-story building. No elevator. On the second floor. We went up the stairs slowly. I carried the suitcases. Sarah carried Matthew. When we entered, the apartment smelled stale. No one had lived there for almost a month. "I'm going to open the windows," Sarah said. She left Matthew on the sofa, surrounded by cushions, so he would not fall. She opened the windows of the living room, the bedroom, the kitchen. The fresh air came in. "Do you have diapers, Milk?" I asked her. "I have some diapers in the suitcase." but milk, no. I breastfeed. And for you, do you have food I do not know? Let me check. She went to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator. It is empty. Everything's spoiled. It is fine. I am going to go down to buy things. You stay here with Matthew. Mom, do you not have to? Yes, I have to. What? Give me a list of what you need. Sarah wrote fast on a paper. Milk, bread, eggs, ham, cheese, fruit, water, coffee. Is that all? Yes, for now. I went down to the supermarket on the corner. I bought everything on the list, and some other things. Chicken, rice, beans, vegetables to make soup. I returned to the apartment loaded with bags. Sarah was sitting on the sofa breastfeeding Matthew. She looked exhausted. Are you okay? Yes, just tired. I put everything in the refrigerator, put water to boil. I made coffee. Do you want to eat something? I am not hungry. You have to eat. You are breastfeeding. I know, Mom, but I cannot. My stomach is in knots. I sat next to her on the sofa. Sarah, I need to ask you something. Tell me, does Michael really know what Linda was planning? About the guardianship? Sarah stayed quiet for a moment. I do not know. Linda said yes, but I do not know if I believe her. Do you think Michael would be capable of taking Matthew from you? No, I do not think so. Michael loves me. He would not do that. But he does everything his mom tells him. Yes, that is true. Then we have to be prepared. Prepared for what? For whatever comes. In that moment, Sarah's phone rang. It was Michael. Sarah looked at me, terrified. Do I answer? Answer. She took a deep breath, answered. Hello? I could not hear what Michael was saying, but Sarah started to cry. Michael, let me explain. No, it is not like that. Your mother hit me. Yes, she hit my mother too. No, I am not exaggerating. Michael, please listen to me. Michael hung up on her. Sarah stayed with the phone in her hand, shaking. What did he say? That his mom told him everything. That I got hysterical. That I disrespected her. That you filled my head with crazy ideas. That if I do not return right now, he is going to ask for a divorce. A divorce, yes. And what do you want to do? Sarah looked at Matthew. Asleep, calm, oblivious to everything. I do not want to divorce. But I also do not want to return to that house. Then do not return. And if Michael loves you for real, he is going to come here. He is going to listen to you. He is going to believe in you. And if he does not, then you will know who he really is. That night, I stayed to sleep at Sarah's apartment. She slept in her room with Matthew. I slept on the sofa. But I could not sleep. I stayed awake, thinking about Linda, about her face full of rage, about her hand hitting me, thinking about Sarah, about how she had found the courage to leave, thinking about Matthew, about that innocent baby who was in the middle of all this, and thinking about me, about how I had reached this point, about how I had allowed them to treat me like this for so long. And in that moment, in the darkness of that living room, I made a decision. I was not going to let Linda win. I was not going to let her take my daughter, my grandson. But I was not going to fight with her weapons either. I was not going to scream. I was not going to insult. I was not going to hit. I was going to do something better. I was going to use the truth. Saturday, April 14th dawned cloudy. I got up early, made coffee, made scrambled eggs with beans. Sarah came out of the room with Matthew in her arms. Good morning, my love. How did you sleep badly? Matthew woke up 3 times, and I could not stop thinking about Michael. Did he call you again? No. Nothing. Give him time. We ate breakfast in silence. Afterward, while Sarah bathed Matthew, I checked my phone. I had 5 messages from Linda. I did not open them. I had 3 missed calls from an unknown number. I did not answer either. And then something occurred to me. Something that maybe would work, or maybe would make everything worse. But I had to try. "Sarah, I need you to lend me your phone a moment." "What for?" "To do something important, trust me." She gave me her phone. I looked in her contacts for Michael's number, and I wrote him a message. "Michael, this is Emily, Sarah's mom. I know you are angry. I know your mom told you her version of what happened. But I ask you one thing. Come to your apartment, listen to your wife's version, look at your son, and then decide. If after listening to Sarah you believe she is crazy that I manipulated her, then I will leave and never interfere in your lives again. But if you come and listen, maybe you will understand the truth." I hit send. Sarah looked at me scared. "What did you do?" I wrote to Michael. I asked him to come. "Mom. And if he gets madder, then at least we will know whose side he is on." 2 hours passed. Michael did not answer. At 11 in the morning, someone knocked on the door. Sarah and I looked at each other. "Are you expecting someone?" "No." I approached the door, looked through the peephole. It was Michael. He was alone. I opened slowly. "Michael." "Mrs. Emily, come in." He entered. He looked tired, disheveled, as if he had not slept. Sarah came out of the room. She was holding Matthew, Michael. He looked at her, and in his eyes I saw something I did not expect. Pain. "Sarah, we need to talk. Yes, I know. I went to the kitchen to give them privacy, but I could hear everything. My mom told me you went crazy, that you attacked my mom, that your mom filled your head with crazy ideas. None of that is true." Then what happened? And Sarah told him everything. She told him about Linda's threats, about the guardianship she wanted to do, about how she controlled her all the time, about how she made her feel incapable, about how she had hit her mother. Michael listened in silence. When Sarah finished, he said nothing for a moment. "Is it true that my mom hit you?" "Mrs. Emily, I came out of the kitchen." "Yes, Michael, it is true." "Can I see?" I approached. I still had the mark on my cheek, the swollen lip. Michael closed his eyes. "My God, Michael, your mom is sick," I told him slowly. "She has a need to control everything, to be the center of everything, and that is not love, it is obsession. She just wanted to help. No, Michael, she wanted to take over your family, your wife, your son, and if you do not set limits, she is going to destroy your marriage." Michael sat on the sofa. He covered his face with his hands. "I do not know what to do." "Yes, you do," said Sarah. "You have to choose, your mom or your family. It is not that easy." "Yes, it is that easy. Who do you love more, your mom or me?" Silence. "You? I love you." "Then prove it." Michael lifted his face. He had tears in his eyes. "What do you want me to do?" "I want you to talk to your mom. Set limits with her. Tell her she is not going to control our lives anymore, that we are going to raise Matthew our way, in our house, without her constant intervention. She is going to get mad. Let her get mad, but you have to do it." Michael looked at Matthew. He picked him up for the first time in days. "My son, your son needs a strong dad, not a dad who does everything his mom tells him." And there in that moment, I saw something change in Michael. "You are right. So are you going to do it?" "Yes, I am going to talk to her." "When? Today? Now." He stood up, gave Matthew back to Sarah. "I love you guys, both of you, and I am sorry. Sorry for not seeing what was happening. Just fix it. I am going to fix it, I promise." And he left. Sarah and I stayed alone. "Do you think he will do it?" she asked me. "I hope so. And if not, then you and I are going to raise Matthew together, and we are going to be fine." She hugged me. "Thanks, Mom. Do not thank me. This is what mothers do. Protect their children, whatever the cost." And in that moment, I knew I had done the right thing, that I had kept silence when I should, that I had spoken when it was necessary, that I had let life do its work. Because sometimes the best revenge is not the blow. It is the truth, and the truth always finds its way. Michael left Sarah's apartment at 12 noon on Saturday, April 14th. Sarah and I stayed waiting. waiting for him to keep his promise, waiting for him to set limits, waiting for him to choose his family over his mother. But the hours passed and we knew nothing. I stayed all day with Sarah. I cooked, I cleaned, I played with Matthew while she rested. At 6 p.m, Sarah received a message from Michael. I talked to my mom. It was very hard, but I did it. I will tell you everything when I arrive. I will arrive around 9. Sarah showed me the message. At least he did go talk to her. Yes, but we do not know what happened. We will know soon. At 9 o'clock sharp, Michael knocked on the door. I got up to leave. No, Mrs. Emily, stay. You also need to hear this. I sat down again. Michael entered. He looked exhausted, haggard, as if he had aged 10 years in a day. What happened? Sarah asked. Michael sat down, took a deep breath. I arrived at the house around 1. My mom was in the living room, waiting for me. He stayed quiet a moment. I told her everything. I told her Sarah was not crazy, that she had not attacked her, that what happened was the other way around, that she had hit Mrs. Emily. And what did she say? At first, she denied it, said Mrs. Emily was lying, that Sarah was confused by the hormones, that I should not believe you guys. And what did you say? I told her I had seen the mark on Mrs. Emily's face, that she could not deny that. And then it got worse. Worse how she started screaming, saying you guys had brainwashed me, that I was choosing some nobody over my own mother, that she had given her whole life for me, and this is how I repaid her. Sarah clenched her fists. Always the victim. Yes, always. But this time, I did not give in. I told her Sarah is my wife, that Matthew is my son, that we are going to live in our apartment, that she can come visit us, but with limits, with respect. And what did she say? Michael closed his eyes. She told me if I chose Sarah over her to forget I have a mother, that she was disinheriting me, that she never wanted to see me again. I felt a weight in my chest. Michael, I am sorry. Do not be sorry, Mrs. Emily. You were right. My mom is sick. She needs to control everything. And if I do not set limits now, she is going to destroy my family. Sarah stood up, hugged him. Thank you. Do not thank me. I should have done it a long time ago. They stayed hugged for a while. I got up slowly. Well, I think it is time for me to go. You guys need time alone. Mrs. Emily said, Michael, really, I ask for your forgiveness. For everything. For how my mom treated you, for not defending you. It is fine, Michael. The important thing is that you learned. Yes, I learned. I left Sarah's apartment that night with a lighter heart because I knew I had won. Not with screams, not with blows, not with revenge, but with patience, with dignity, with love. And now all that remained was to wait for life to give Linda exactly what she had sown. Weeks passed. April ended. May arrived. Sarah and Michael stayed in their apartment. Michael kept his word. He did not return to Linda's house. Linda tried calling him every day. She sent him messages, emails, but Michael did not answer. My dad called me. Michael told me one afternoon when I went to visit them. He told me my mom is very bad, that she does not eat, that she does not sleep, that she cries all the time. And what do you feel? Guilt, but also relief, because I know I did the right thing. True love sometimes hurts, but it is always the right thing. In June, Linda stopped calling. Richard told Michael she had started going to therapy, that the therapist had told her she had control issues, that she needed to work on letting go. Do you think she will change? I asked Michael. I do not know, but I hope so. For her, not for me. In July, Matthew turned 4 months old. We had organized a small gathering at Sarah's apartment. My friends from church, some nursing colleagues of Sarah, Matthew's godparents. Michael had notified his dad, in case he wanted to come. Richard arrived. Alone. Linda did not want to come, he said, but she asked me to give you this. It was an envelope. Sarah opened it. Inside was a card and a check. The card said, Matthew, happy birthday. Grandma Linda. The check was for $5,000. Sarah looked at me. What do I do with this? It is for Matthew. Put it in an account for him. When he is big, let him use it for something good. Do you not think it is a way for Linda to keep controlling, maybe? Or maybe it is the only way she knows how to show love, accept it with grace, but not with debt. Sarah kept the check. In August, I received a call from Richard. Mrs. Emily, I need to speak with you. Tell me. It is about Linda. She would like to see you. I felt my heart stop. See me. Yes? She wants to ask for your forgiveness. Forgiveness, yes. She has been working a lot in therapy, and the therapist suggested she start making peace with the people she hurt. You are the first on her list. I did not know what to say. And what is your opinion, Richard? I think my wife did very bad things, but I also believe she is trying to change, and that deserves at least a chance. Let me think about it. Of course. Take your time. That night I talked to Sarah. Linda wants to see me, to apologize, and are you going to go? I do not know. Part of me wants to tell her no, that she does not deserve my forgiveness. And the other part knows that holding a grudge only hurts me, not her. Then go, listen to what she has to say, and then decide if you forgive her or not. 2 days later, I went to Linda's house. Richard opened the door. Thanks for coming, Mrs. Emily. Thanks for the invitation. He took me to the living room. Linda was sitting on the sofa. She looked different, thinner, paler, smaller, as if something inside her had broken. Emily, thanks for coming. I sat in front of her. Richard told me you wanted to talk to me. Yes, I need to ask for your forgiveness. She took a deep breath. I know I was horrible to you. I know I treated you badly, that I made you feel less, that I hit you. Her voice broke. There is no excuse for what I did, but I want you to know that I am working on myself, on understanding why I did what I did. And what did you discover? That I am afraid of losing control, afraid of not being important, afraid of people forgetting me. Linda, no one was going to forget you. You are Matthew's grandmother. You were always going to be important. I know, but I wanted to be the most important, and that led me to hurt the people I love. She wiped her tears. Michael does not speak to me. I have not seen Matthew in 4 months, and it is my fault. Everything is my fault. I looked at her, and for the first time, I did not see the cruel woman who had hit me. I saw a broken woman, alone, scared. Do you miss Matthew every day? Every day I think about him, about how he is growing, that I am missing everything. Then why do you not call Michael? Why do you not ask him for forgiveness too? Because I am ashamed. Because I do not know if he is going to forgive me. You will not know until you try. She stayed quiet. Emily, do you forgive me? I took a deep breath. Linda, what you did to me hurt a lot. You made me feel invisible. You made me feel that I was worth nothing. And that is not easily forgotten. I know. But I also know that holding a grudge only harms me. So yes, I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. Linda started to cry. Thank you. But listen to me well. I forgive you. But that does not mean we are going to be friends. That does not mean I am going to forget. It means I am going to let go of the poison, and I am going to move on. I understand. I stood up. If you really want to get your family back, start by calling Michael, by asking him for forgiveness, by showing him with actions, not with words, that you have changed. Do you think he will forgive me? I do not know. But at least you will be able to sleep knowing you tried. I left that house feeling something strange. It was not happiness. It was not sadness. It was freedom. Because I had released the weight of hate, and that made me stronger than any revenge. 3 weeks later, Michael received a call from his mom. They talked on the phone. Linda cried, apologized. Michael listened. In the end, he told her, "Mom, I need time. But if you have really changed, maybe we can rebuild something, little by little." And that is how it started, little by little. In September, Linda came to visit Matthew. A short visit, an hour. With Sarah and Michael present the whole time. She behaved well. She gave no advice, made no requests, did not criticize. She just held her grandson, kissed him, and left. "Thanks for letting me come," she told Sarah before leaving. "He is your grandson. You have a right to know him, but with respect." I understand. The visits continued. Once a month, always short, always supervised, and over time things improved. They never went back to how they were before, because before was broken. But they found a new balance, a balance where everyone had their place, where Linda was the grandmother, but Sarah was the mother, where I was the other grandmother, with the same right, with the same love. And Matthew grew surrounded by love. From all the grandmothers, from his parents, from an imperfect but healing family. Today, 2 years later, Matthew is 2.5 years old. He walks, talks, laughs, and when he sees me arrive, he shouts, "Grandma Emily," and runs to my arms. And in those moments, I know everything was worth it. Linda is still in therapy. She has improved a lot, but she still has relapses. Sometimes she tries to give one too many pieces of advice. Sometimes she tries to control. But Sarah and Michael already know how to set limits. And I learned something very valuable, that life always collects its debts. Linda lost her son for months. She missed Matthew's first steps, his first words, his first laughs. Not because I punished her, but because she herself sowed that loneliness with her arrogance. And that was her greatest lesson. She once called me crazy. She called me a filthy old hag. She hit me in the face, and today she sees me with respect, not because I shouted louder, but because I remained firm, dignified, true. And in the end, the truth always wins, because the truth does not need blows. It only needs time and patience and faith that life knows what it is doing. Today is Sunday, November 23rd. 2 years and 8 months have passed since that Friday when everything changed. Since that Friday when Linda spit on me, when she hit me, when she tried to take my family from me. I am sitting in the park on the west side, on a bench under a jacaranda tree. The purple flowers fall slowly on the grass. Matthew runs in front of me. He is 2.5. He is no longer that helpless baby who slept in my arms. Now he is a boy with strong legs, with a clear voice, with a laugh that sounds like bells. "Grandma Emily, look a butterfly, yes, my love." How pretty Sarah is sitting next to me. She's 34 years old now. She looks different than she looked 2 years ago. Stronger, more sure, more herself. You know, Mom, sometimes I think about everything that happened, and I cannot believe it was real. It was real, my love. Very real. I know. But sometimes I feel like it was another person who lived that, as if I had been another Sarah. You were another Sarah. You were a Sarah who did not yet know who she was, and now you are the Sarah you always should have been. A strong mother, a wife who knows how to set limits, a woman who makes her own decisions. She smiles. "Thanks, Mom. Why, for not leaving me alone, for getting me out of there, for everything. You do not have to thank me. That is what mothers do." Matthew comes running back. He climbs on my legs. "Grandma, I am hungry. Do you want a sandwich?" "Yes." I take a sandwich out of my bag that I prepared this morning. Ham and cheese, his favorite. He eats it with his hands, with crumbs falling everywhere. And I look at him and I fill up, because this boy is my legacy. Not just my grandson, but the proof that love always wins, that dignity always conquers, That patience always bears fruit. And Michael, I ask Sarah. He is working. He has a shift today, but he is coming at night. And how is he good? Happy. Sometimes the relationship with his mom still hurts him, but he is learning to live with that. And Linda Sarah sighs. She came to visit us on Wednesday. She behaved well. She played with Matthew. She gave no advice. Did not criticize. She is better. I am glad, but she still has her moments. Last week, she called me to tell me Matthew needed to go to swimming lessons, that all children from good families go to swimming at 2 years old. And what did you tell her? That if she wants to pay for the classes, go ahead, but that I decide if Matthew goes or not. Well done. She fell silent, and then she said, "You are right. It is your decision. She is learning. Yes, slowly, but she is learning." We stayed in silence a while watching Matthew play with the dry leaves. You know what is the saddest thing of all? Mom. What that Linda could have been a wonderful grandmother if she had only stopped trying to control everything. If she had only trusted that I knew what I was doing. If she had only loved without conditions. Some people do not know how to love like that. Not because they do not want to, but because they were never taught. Do you think one day she will learn? I hope so. For her, not for us. Matthew runs toward me again. "Grandma, will you tell me a story? Which one do you want?" "The one about the brave grandmother." Sarah looks at me surprised. "Do you tell him stories?" "Sometimes when he stays to sleep at my house." "And what stories do you tell him?" "Stories of strong women, of grandmothers who protect their grandchildren, of mothers who find their voice." Sarah smiles with tears in her eyes. "That is beautiful, Mom. It is important that he knows. That when he grows up, he understands that true love is not control. It is freedom." Matthew settles on my legs. "Come on, Grandma." "The story." "It is fine." Once upon a time, there was a grandmother who loved her grandson very much. So much that when she saw someone wanted to hurt him, she did something very brave. Sarah stands up. "I will leave you two. I am going to buy a coffee." "Do you want anything, Mom?" "No thanks, my love." She goes. And I stay with Matthew telling him stories. Stories that one day he will understand. Stories that will teach him that in this life there are two types of people. Those who love to control and those who love to liberate. And that he must always, always choose to be the second type. The hours pass. The sun starts to go down. Families start leaving the park. Sarah, Matthew, and I walk back to the apartment. "Mom, are you staying for dinner?" "No, my love. I have sewing class tomorrow early. I need to finish some embroidery. It is fine." "I will walk you to the bus stop." We walk the 3 blocks to the stop. Matthew hugs me. "I love you, Grandma Emily." "I love you too, my love. So much." Sarah hugs me too. "Thanks for this day. Thanks to you for letting me be part of your life. You are always going to be part of our life, Mom. Always." The bus arrives. I get on. I sit by the window, and I see Sarah and Matthew waving goodbye. And in that moment, I feel something I had not felt in a long time. Peace. Peace, because I know I did the right thing. Peace, because I did not take revenge. I did not scream. I did not hit. I only remained firm, dignified, true, and life did the rest. Linda lost months with her grandson. She lost her son's trust. She lost her daughter-in-law's respect, not because I punished her, but because she herself dug her own grave. And when she finally hit rock bottom, when she saw herself alone in that hospital Richard told me about a few months ago, because she had an anxiety crisis and no one went to see her the first 2 days. It was when she finally understood that control is not love, that power is not respect, that arrogance only brings loneliness. And today, although things are not perfect, they are better. Linda comes to see Matthew, but with limits. Michael talks to her, but with distance. Sarah tolerates her, but with firmness. And I forgave her. Not because she deserved it, but because I deserved to let go of that weight. Because forgiveness is not for the one who did harm. It is for the one who received it, and I needed to be free. I arrive at my apartment at 7 at night. I open the door. Everything is in silence. I prepare a chamomile tea. I sit at my sewing table and look at the photographs I have on the wall. Robert, Sarah as a child, Sarah on her wedding day, Matthew as a newborn, and a new photo Sarah gave me last week, a photo of the three of us, Sarah, Matthew, and I, in the park smiling. I look at it and I smile too, because this is my family, small, imperfect, full of scars, but mine, and no one, never again, is going to take it from me. If my story helps a single woman open her eyes, it will have been worth it. If there is a woman who is living what I lived, controlled, minimized, erased, I want her to know this. You have a voice. Although they have made you believe you do not, you have power. Although they have made you feel small, you have the right to set limits, to say no, to protect yours. And if someone hurts you, you do not have to respond with more harm. You just have to remain firm, dignified, true. Because life always collects its debts, and time always puts everyone in their place, not with your help, but with the silent justice that only the universe knows how to give. Once Linda called me a filthy old hag, spat on me, hit me. And years later, I saw her sitting in a hospital alone while her son was late arriving because he was busy being a father. Life always collects its debts, and I did not have to do anything. Just wait, with patience, with faith, with love. Today I am 62 years old. I continue giving sewing classes. I continue living in my apartment on the east side. I continue being the same Emily, but different. Because now I know who I am. I know I do not need money to have value. I know I do not need power to have a voice. I know I do not need revenge to have peace. I only need love, true love, the one that liberates, the one that respects, the one that remains. And that is what I leave to my grandson. Not money, not properties, not important last names. I leave him a lesson that true love does not control, it liberates. And that the most powerful woman is not the one who screams the loudest. It is the one who remains firm, even when they spit on her, even when they hit her, even when they try to erase her. Because in the end, the truth always wins. Always. Thanks for listening to me until the end. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and activate the bell to listen to more stories of women who transformed their pain into wisdom. Every day, a woman. A life lesson. Share this story with someone you love. Sometimes a story like this can change a whole day. God bless you, and until next time.